Good evening, Tallahassee, and happy hump day. It's September 28th, 2016. I'm student meteorologist Lexi Birmingham.
And I'm student meteorologist Alyssa Mosquera.
And I don't know about you, Alyssa, but going around campus, it has been pretty nice the last couple days.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty nice. Not too hot out there. Definitely bearable, I'd say.
Yeah, seeing some spotted showers here in the afternoon, here and there. But
especially, today we did see those showers roll in almost exactly at 5 o'clock here on the campus. I know I got stuck out there for a bit.
We're still seeing some pretty dark clouds out there, too. And I think it's going to continue over into tonight, but we'll have more about that later. But you know, those temperatures are finally dropping into the 80s, so that's exciting to see.
Yeah, and that's going to be really nice for this weekend, too, especially with that game coming up. So getting some good relief.
And for our parents as well, because especially those who may come out of state. It'll still feel hot in Tallahassee, but it won't be unbearable like that Charleston Southern game. That was hot.
Exactly. It won't be as much as a shock with the heat, so.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But, yeah, I'm just looking forward to finally seeing those fall temperatures and, you know, just finally be able to wear a light jacket to school.
Yeah, same. It's going to be a nice change for the week for sure. Cooler temperatures, getting a little relief from that heat out there. So it's going to be a really nice weekend. Great times to go outdoors because we will be seeing that rain kind of clearing out. But we will be talking about that a little more later in the day. So let's get to Jake now with the overview.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Another stormy night to get through, but again, the cold front is on the way, and we're looking to be in pretty good shape for the coming days ahead. Let's start off real quick with a view of our FSU Weather STEM camera. You see the clouds rolling in from the northwest. We're looking out at Doak Campbell Stadium from the Pensacola Street garage here, and these clouds starting to really bubble up in the afternoon, and of course, we had plenty of thunderstorms build up as the day has gone on, including one over us right now moving down near the Woodville and St. Mark's area. The high temperatures today have been pretty high ahead of that front. 89 degrees in Tallahassee, 86 Quincy, 91 up in Bainbridge. And even when this front moves through, we're still going to be seeing those highs getting up into those middle 80s. So the dry air is really the big maker that this cold front is going to produce for us. Here's the satellite and radar. Again, these storms pushing off towards the southeast. We had a big storm over southern Tallahassee that has since moved out of Leon County, now down into Wakulla. St. Mark's getting hit pretty hard, areas just to the north, gradually pushing into Jefferson County as the next hour or two is going on here. The storm threat should dissipate just a little bit as the night carries on. So for tonight, 69 degrees, a 50% chance of rain, particularly early. We could still see an isolated shower or thunderstorm overnight. However, the further you go into the night, the better the picture is looking for us. So the wind's coming out of the southwest at 5 miles per hour, and we'll gradually see those winds start to turn out of the north. So let's look at the weather headlines. Storms gradually tapering off. The cold front makes its way through tonight and tomorrow, and a perfect weekend is on the way as a result. So now we're going to take it back to the desk where Lexi and Alyssa are standing by.
Thanks, Jake. Yeah, he talked a little bit about that cold front coming through. Some facts about a cold front. It does bring in that cooler air, hence the name cold front.
Cold front, exactly. Yeah, those storms are coming prior to the front, and then right behind it we have dry air. And we were just upstairs at the National Weather Service, and they were talking about this is actually our first basically nice-looking cold front of the year so far.
Yeah, so we're actually seeing a pretty early cold front coming in, and like she said, we did see those showers today because of it coming through, and that dry air is going to be really nice behind it, dropping our temperatures just so slightly, enough to really give us a break from that heat out there.
And I did see a low of 58 for one of the weekend days, so
yes.
I'm hoping it comes through. A nice 58. That'll be a nice night.
Yeah, so that's going to be a nice night. You definitely want to prepare for that too and have that jacket on hand because you don't want to get stuck out there thinking it's going to be warm. But let's take a shift with this now and talk about the tropics with Andres.
Thank you, Alyssa. Well, yep, we are talking about the tropics. It's another exciting day here. We got a lot of activity forming up here in the Gulf. But right quick, we're going to look at the Eastern Pacific. As we see over there, Tropical Storm Eureka and also Tropical Depression Rosalind, they're turning up in the Pacific right now. But these two storms are scheduled to dissipate over the next 48 to 36 hours as they're both going to encounter some cool waters and some shear. Not favorable conditions for development for any tropical system. And also we were watching a little bit of an area of convective activity that should have a 40% chance of forming over the next 5 days. But looking back closer towards the Atlantic, so we can see the climatology, and we normally see these systems travel towards the west, and they eventually end up taking a northerly turn once they reach the Caribbean or along the east coast. But also, we have one active storm that just got named today at 11 o'clock. We have Tropical Storm Matthew. It's turning right now west of the Windward Islands. as we look at the names over here. And here we have Tropical Storm Matthew. But before I get into that, we do have a little bit of a wave in the Gulf of Mexico. We're not really expecting anything out of this, but Matthew has our eyes and concerns right now as it tracks towards the west at 18 miles per hour. Current winds are about 60 miles per hour, and this is expected to strengthen quite a bit as it heads towards west, but it's eventually going to stall right maybe directly south of Hispaniola. Stall a little bit and then take more of a northerly turn, as we're going to have a bit of a blocking pattern that's going to be dominating the western Atlantic, and we're going to have a little bit of a trough, so it's going to be a little bit of a channel that's going to end up picking up the storm once it gets to about this part right here, like I said, to the south of Hispaniola. And depending on the track, is depending the intensity of the system, as we do have mountainous areas in Hispaniola that reach 10,000 feet, and the farther west into the eastern part of Cuba, not as mountainous. They do have some mountains, so depending on the track is going to depend on the strength, as it is suspected once it reaches passes north of Cuba, it might reach a Category 4 storm. And some models are talking about this system either going towards a little bit more west towards the east coast, or a little bit more towards the east, as that blocking pattern, especially depending on the strength of this high pressure system that's going to be sitting in the western Atlantic, that's really going to be the main driving force behind this system. So we're going to keep our eyes on Matthew for the next couple of days. As you see clearly, it's just going to take a northerly turn, definitely hit Cuba, but we're going to keep our eyes on it because we're expecting a very strong system out of this, or a storm out of this system over the next couple of days. But for right now, I'm going to pass it off to Lexi for a look at the local.
All right, thank you so much, Andres. So, like we said before, the storms did roll through within the past hour, so we are seeing some pretty dark clouds out there, maybe some thunder. The temperature did drop to 78 with the dew point at 75, but that humidity did skyrocket, especially with the storms that came through. So it's feeling a little bit icky out there, especially with the storms that came through. But currently right now it is 85 in St. Mark's, 78 again in Tallahassee. Just all these cool temperatures from Quincy all the way down to St. Mark's is because of the storms that came through. So they're feeling a little bit much cooler than they did like a couple hours ago. And then Valdosta is sitting at 80 as well. Dew points have been pretty much the same, especially with the storms that came through. 75 in Tallahassee, 72 in St. Mark, a little bit higher down in Carabel and Apalachicola. They did have some storms that did touch the coast just a little bit, so they did see some an increase in moisture as well. But here's the big talk right now, this water vapor map. There's the storms that came through with the green spots that moved easterly, excuse me, I couldn't figure out my directions, but I want to point out this dark spot right here. That's all that dry air that we were talking about. It's just coming this way, and it's going to bring much cooler temperatures like Alyssa and I mentioned earlier at the desk. Here's our satellite and radar. The storms have been pretty much staying out in the Gulf. We did see some storms that passed through the Big Bend region, and we see some storms that are moving into Cedar Creek and into Gainesville, but that's all because of that cold front that has been moving through the area. So what's going on in the future? Well, here's some moisture that we see coming Wednesday evening, but as we go into Thursday morning, those storms will back off and will hang out in the Gulf. You can see right down by where my legs are. It's just going to hang out in the Gulf, not too much affecting the Big Bend area because that dry air is moving in. Thursday, still looking clear in the Big Bend region. Even the Panhandle where I'm from, Niceville's looking pretty dry too. But again, those storms are going to keep moving easterly and are going to stay to the east as we move into Friday afternoon as well. So for tonight, 69 degrees in Tallahassee. Storms possibly early, 50%. So do bring an umbrella or maybe a rain jacket if you do have plans for the evening. You might get caught in a spotted shower, but for tomorrow it's going to be 88, and that's when the cold front moves through. It'll be much drier, so it's going to be you won't have to worry too much about sweating to class. I know nobody likes to walk all sweaty to class and then having to cool down in the AC. But planning out your Thursday, 71 degrees at 8 a.m. The storms will move out of the picture. Skies will continue to clear as the lunch hour comes through, and it's going to be looking beautiful as the evening comes around. And we're all excited to see those low temperatures and fall starting to make its debut. So here's our 5-day outlook. It is going to be 88 tomorrow with a low of 69, but come Friday, it'll be 84 degrees, which seems to be the lowest spot on the map so far. But look at Saturday night. It's going to be 58 degrees and a high of 68. So it's going to be looking really, really nice for our upcoming football game evening and everything. But now I'm back at the desk, and what I really want to talk about is something that happened back in 1917 on this day, September 28th. And we had a Category 4 hurricane that rolled in But again, it did not have a name. They didn't have the naming system yet, so it was just called Category 4 hurricane. It was actually the fourth and last hurricane of that hurricane season. It affected the Florida Panhandle, which, if you've watched the show before, that's exactly where I'm from. It had peak winds of 150 miles per hour and an intensity of 928 hectopascals. Now that's low, and that can really intensify a hurricane as it makes its landfall. It did make landfall around Fort Walton Beach and Pensacola and moved its way up into Crestview and even Niceville, where I'm from. Yes, I'm actually from Niceville. It's an actual town. It did cause $170,000 in damage, but in today's dollars, it'd be $3 million. You know, back then the whole currency was a little bit different. A dollar was worth seemed like a lot during that time than in today. But you know, Niceville being my town, it was actually a very new town. This was actually the first hurricane that they ever saw back in 1917, because Niceville was established in 1915. But over the years, Niceville has had its fair share of hurricanes, including Hurricane Ivan back in 2004, which I had just moved to the Panhandle too when Hurricane Ivan had hit. And then next year we had Dennis and even bits of Katrina. So that's what happened. But for now, Andres is going to take it away with the Southeast.
Thank you very much, Lexi. Now we have 78 degrees currently in Tallahassee with that storm system, or that little storm that came by earlier, really dropped the temperatures down a bit. But for the most of the Southeast, we are seeing temperatures around in the lower 90s to upper 80s, except for places where we're having any current rain coming down. Current relative humidity, well, that cold front that we've been talking about, you can clearly see a little bit of a defining gradient along the Southeast right here. That's pretty much where the cold front's at right now. It's not really bringing much cooler air, it's just bringing a lot of drier air behind it. But currently, relative humidity here in Tallahassee, we're sitting at 90. And, well, spot the front. If you can see the orange on the screen, that's pretty much where this front is at right now. As we can see a clearly band of orange that's dipping down through the south right now. And it's we're right ahead of this dry air, so that's why we do have those storms that have been developing. And this front's really going to stall out over northern part of Florida as it continues throughout the day and into tomorrow. But right now we can clearly see some northerly winds coming right behind this front right now. As you can see ahead of it, they're more southerly. It's another indication of where this front is currently at. So all this dry air is going to be coming our way. Another indication of the front, well, where are the clouds at? You can clearly see a little bit of a line as it forms up throughout the day. And it has been popping up some of these storms. Mainly, most of them have stayed in the Gulf of Mexico. There have been a few that have popped up around like we had here through Tallahassee earlier. But in the future, well, looking into it, we can see that this storm is going to pass on by into tonight, into tomorrow morning. We're going to see that dry air. Not really, we're not going to have conducive environment for storms. But once this front stalls out, or excuse me, this dissipates, we are going to see some southerly flow for the southern part of the state. And they're going to continue to see this rain as the days go on. As you can see over here, coming into Thursday evening, we're going to have some storms around Orlando and off to the west coast of Florida. And this should continue over the next couple of days, as there are going to be under the effects of southwesterly flow over there. But for tonight, it's going to be 68 degrees here in Tallahassee, 59 in Montgomery. That's a really cool temperature. The coldest temperatures that we've seen so far this year since May or April, but around that time. 73 in Orlando, 75 in Miami. And for tomorrow, we're going to see 90 in Tallahassee. Another hot day, but we're going to see some cooler air. There's a little bit of a second cold front coming on through Friday night. But 90 in Tallahassee, 88 in Orlando, 91 in Miami. But for right now, I'm going to pass it off to Alyssa for a look at the outdoors.
Thank you, Andres. So here in North Carolina, this is who we will be playing this Saturday, FSU versus North Carolina. So their high has been 80, and today their high has been 79. So they've been having some fair weather today, just like we have had over the past few days. So for your golf index, if you are one who plays the great game of golf, it's going to be a pretty fair day out there tomorrow. We have 4 out there, so the higher you go on the scale, the nicer the weather is going to be. So it's going to be mostly cloudy skies, just a little bit on the warm side, and we will have some light winds, which is going to make make that golf game pretty good out there. So if you want to go out there on the beach, you will have some moderate winds, 10 to 15 miles per hour. The water is going to be pretty warm at 86 degrees, and you'll see us talk a bit later about how we do have some drier air coming in, so that's making this favorable weather for the beach out there. Our UV index is pretty high at 8, so if you see by this table, you can see that 8 is at a very high risk. 11 is getting to extreme risk, so we're sitting there at 8 right now, which is pretty warm out there. So on Saturday, we have FSU versus North Carolina. It is going to be a beautiful sunny day, 85 degrees out there, and this is a 3:30 p.m. game. So it's actually going to be really nice out there, and especially with that cold front coming in, we are going to be seeing those temperatures feel really nice out there. It won't be too warm out there. It'll be just perfect for the game out there. So again, 85 degrees out there for your Saturday football game, FSU versus North Carolina. Go ahead, get out there and support your fellow Noles. Now we're going to actually zoom out more and bring it to the national with Jake.
Thanks a lot, Alyssa. Plenty going on across the rest of the country here. We're going to start right now with the current conditions, and you'll see where we have these low pressure centers, these fronts, of course, with where these cool temperatures are. 60 degrees currently in Detroit with some rainfall in there, 61 in Minneapolis. Warm throughout much of the rest of the country, even 81 degrees up in the Rockies in Denver. Here's the water vapor imagery. The east side of the country is really what we're zeroing in on here. Plenty of dry air sweeping, of course, across behind this cold front. Down through the Mississippi Valley, up through Missouri now, and even some dry air beginning to push its way into Illinois and Iowa as well. But again, there's an upper level low centered over Michigan and Ohio, bringing plenty of rainfall to that area. We're going to zoom in just a little bit later on that. The temperature change graphics have been pretty cool with all of this rainfall here. You see 12 degrees cooler in Kansas City than it was at this time yesterday after the fronts have come through. 14 degrees warmer, however, in Dallas. Texas, of course, being much warmer than what they were seeing yesterday. Here's the national satellite and radar. Very quiet across the entire western part of the country, except for some scattered showers and storms up in northern Arizona, pushing into southern Utah. However, the eastern side of the country has two big areas that we're really trying to focus, or really three areas. Florida, of course, the peninsula, this low in the Ohio Valley, as well as this mid-Atlantic severe threat that we're going to be zeroing in on in just a little bit. Here's the watches and warnings. Plenty going on in North Carolina as well as Virginia. We saw that weather stem camera over at Kenan Memorial Stadium in Chapel Hill showing you a lot of those storms that were coming through the area there today. Even a tornado warning active in central Virginia right now, not too far from the Richmond area. We're going to zoom in on that radar right now. Storms really began to blow up as the afternoon carried on. Even some storms down in South Carolina. But again, the main threat has been North Carolina into Virginia up towards the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area where there is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect, as well as numerous warnings. Large hail and damaging winds being a big threat there. With that, the airport delays have been there. 53 minutes with a ground stop currently in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, seeing plenty of rainfall, of course, in New York City also. One of the biggest hubs in the country at 38-minute delay, as well as Las Vegas out in the west. Again, some scattered showers were up in parts of Arizona, Utah, and southern Nevada as well. So here's the futurecast rainfall. And, of course, the western part of the country staying very dry. No rain in sight for the Rocky Mountains. Off to the east is where plenty of this is going on. Detroit could be seeing about 2 inches of rain in the next couple of days. You're going to really see that start to blow up as Friday carries on. Even 3 inches potentially in parts of the Ohio Valley near Cleveland, near Pittsburgh. And a lot of rainfall was what we're looking at for Virginia and Washington, D.C., really where the hotbed of that severe weather has been as the day has gone on today. So for tonight, we are looking at a pretty cool night across the center of the country. 47 in Kansas City, 47 in Minneapolis. We're not even in October yet, but don't worry, that snowfall isn't coming for you guys anytime soon. For tomorrow, again, a cool day across much of the upper third of the country. 68 in Minneapolis, 66 in KC, 72 degrees in Memphis under partly cloudy skies. So now I'm going to zoom things in a little bit more locally here at the desk. We have Parents Weekend, which is going to be starting up Friday afternoon here across campus. Plenty going on over the next 72 hours or so. And really the big thing on Friday is going to be the circus, the FSU Circus, Flying Eye Circus, making its way back to campus for some Parents Weekend shows, a special edition, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Advanced ticket purchase will be necessary for that event. But again, I've been to a couple shows in my time here, and they are a really, really fun time. They go all out for you, and it's really interesting to see how fast a lot of the students who take part in the circus have been trained and are able to do what they do. It's really an incredible thing to see. Saturday, 8 a.m. start at the Integration Statue, going to be a Parents Weekend 5K. Late registration is still available. For those of you who may want to take part, you can even walk it. You don't have to run it, of course. Registration will be at 7 p.m. in Oglesby Union. Plenty more going on, particularly on Saturday, including, actually a Friday night picnic from 5 to 9 in the Oglesby Union courtyard over near Subway and Four Rivers Smokehouse and areas like that on campus. Throughout Parents Weekend, we have other things going on, say campus bowling specials at Crenshaw Lanes. Paint a Pot will be open for anybody who wants to go paint with their families, and of course the big football game taking place on Saturday afternoon, 3:30, as we take on North Carolina. We had your forecast there for that. Friday and Saturday, all the Parents' Weekend festivities are looking absolutely fantastic. So we're looking forward to having everything going on around here this weekend, looking like a really fun weekend ahead. So for now, I'm going to send it out to Alyssa, who's got to look around the rest of the Sunshine State.
Thanks, Jake. He's absolutely right. This weekend is going to be fantastic for that Parents' Weekend. However, right now we are seeing some showers in Tallahassee. It is cooling down to 78. And around Florida, you are seeing those temperatures in the 80s, getting up to 88 in Miami. And all the way up there in Pensacola, we do have 89 degrees out there. So our dew points are pretty favorable for that moisture out there. We have the upper 70s all across of Florida pretty much, except Pensacola you are seeing 68, dipping down a little because most likely that cold front has already passed by, and you're gonna be seeing these dew points lowering down as the days go on because we do have that cold front that's been coming through. So currently we're not feeling too hot out there. We are seeing 84 in Tallahassee, but as you go towards the south, Miami feels like 101 degrees out there. So they are feeling pretty scorching hot out there. Central Florida, not too bad, 88 in Orlando, jumping up to 92 in Tampa. So a little warmer as you go down the Florida coast. So as you look at our water vapor map, you can really see the definition of the cold front coming through as your Wednesday came on. You see this moisture patch coming through, and you also see behind it this warm, this dry air mass, the orange colors is coming behind it. So that's what's been lifting that moisture up in the air this evening. And as you see the evening goes on, you will see that dry air provide us for some clear temperatures, clear days throughout the days tomorrow as well as throughout the week. So we do have some wind shifts here, and again, you're going to keep hearing me say it, that cold front, this is really showing the picture for it. You have those wind shifts. We do have 5 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 13 there in Pensacola. As you go more towards the south, West Palm Beach, you are jumping up to 21 miles per hour. So pretty high winds down there. Now let's look at that rain again. We do have that rain and cloud cover pushing in. Most of the rain though is situated off of the coast, so that's why you haven't seen too much rain here in Tallahassee. Maybe just a few showers and thunderstorms, but nothing too crazy out there. A lot of it is being pushed off of the coast and bringing down the Florida panhandle as the day goes on. So let's see how this rain is going to persist throughout the week. Not really much going on. It's clearing out, mostly staying off the coast on the west and east sides of Florida. South Florida may be getting in some rain here and there, but for the most part, we are going to be seeing that rain and moisture clear up. Tonight, dipping down into the 60s, so we are getting pretty cool, but tomorrow we will be seeing some pretty warm temperatures again, but again, cooler than normal. So let's throw it back to the desk with Jake and Andres to see what else is going on.
All right, thanks a lot, Alyssa. Not really looking forward to seeing all that rainfall in the central part of Florida, but however, 2 years of shenanigans with the two of us, and here we are finally at the desk together.
It's our first desk together in 2 years that we've been on this show. I still can't believe that's been that long.
It's really fun, but of course, with that, you know how excited we are about these cooler temperatures. Just some historical perspective for you, at least for this year. We have not seen a temperature as cool as what we've had since the late part of May. Before Memorial Day, that was the last time we even dropped into the 50s around Tallahassee.
Me personally, I'm a cold weather person. If it's 30 degrees out there, 20 degrees, I love it. And luckily, we're not going to, unfortunately for me, I guess, we're not going to get down to that low, but we are going to get down to 58 on Saturday night.
Yeah, as long as we don't do the 20s, as long as we don't do that snow, having to shovel all that snow out of the driveways, that was a joy growing up. But hey, we're looking forward to it, of course. We got one more look at the local now. We got Nicole Steeves out at the wall.
Jake and Andres. And when I was on my way to the studio, I was seeing a couple of showers. That is going to persist throughout the night. And you can see that our temperatures have dropped, and that's again because of the thunderstorms that we are seeing. Humidity is really high because of all those showers as well as the dew point. And just make sure to bring a rain jacket when you go out and do any of your nightly activities. Relative humidity is, again, high because of all of the showers that we are seeing, especially just like all the places that you see the high humidity percent basically have had rain. Tallahassee's at 90 and Monticello at 87. Carabel and Apalachicola have a smaller relative humidity, and again, that's just because they haven't gotten as many showers as we have. The winds are sitting at 5 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 7 in St. Mark's, 4 in Monticello, and they were a little bit faster when the thunderstorms were coming through the area, but now they're back to not so bad. The satellite and radar is just showing how we had those cloudy skies earlier, and we are now seeing those showers, and that's just gonna like persist throughout the night. We will be seeing a stray pop-up shower or two, but nothing. It's just going to lighten up as the night goes on. And just again, just more showers. Futurecast is showing the dew points and how they are just going down as this cold front is coming through. Can't forget about the cold front. Just really nice weather because of that, and the relative humidity also goes down because of that, and that just basically means that it's going to be a lot more comfortable around our area. And if the clicker would go, just gonna see 55 degree dew points, and that just again means that it's gonna be really comfortable come Friday morning, and just have really great weather around here. Tonight's forecast, we're seeing those early storms, and just make sure to bring a jacket and an umbrella wherever you go. But just sitting at really comfortable temperatures too. Tomorrow it's going to be back to what we usually would see around this time of year, 88 degrees across the board, basically much drier air, just super comfortable. Boating is going to be not so great because of those high winds, so make sure that if you're boating, be aware of that. And then for the rest of your week, basically just dry until Monday, and when we'll see more showers. And I'm going to send it back to Jake and Andres at the desk.
Well, it might be until Monday, but for right now, I am enjoying the dry conditions we're about to see. But I wanted to go back on one thing. I don't mind snow. I actually don't mind snow shoveling.
I love snow itself, but when it's January and February and it just keeps coming on, and I don't know, it got frustrating after a while, especially once I got a little bit older.
Well, I guess I can understand that if you live in the north a lot. So I have not. The farthest north I've gone is Kentucky. So
yeah, I mean, hey, Chicago guy, I'll take it. But look at the 7-day, 4 days and 4 suns, and unfortunately not quite 7 there. But through the weekend, looking really good. Those mid-80s being the dominant trend. Friday and Saturday in particular, game day looking just fantastic.
Please go out and enjoy the game days. Sunny skies. We can't ask for any better. Absolutely. Now let's check out the social media here. We're all over the place. We're on Facebook.com/FSU Weather. We're also on Twitter. You can follow us there. And we're also on Instagram. Don't forget to give the Instagram some love. One of my personal catchphrases. We can also check us out anytime you want on livestream.com/FSU Weather, where all of our old shows are archived for you if you want to check us out. Yeah, so check us out. We love people to actually watch the show live, too. So spread the word out, because we actually go live every weekday at 6 o'clock. So
every Monday to Friday. So for all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens.
And I'm student meteorologist Andreas Rondon.
We'll see you tomorrow.